So I've listed for you the instructions on how to do the Chapter 7 Gamelan project as one of the possible assignments. But I thought maybe it would be helpful if I actually demonstrated the process myself. So we're going to make this gamelan, and the first thing to do is decide how many beats are going to be in my time cycle. And usually I would say pick something that has some that is easily factored. So something like 6, 8, 9, maybe 10, 12. If you pick something that's like a prime number, like 5 or 7 or 11, you're going to end up having things not maybe come out evenly in the end or come out eventually. So I'm going to pick, I think for this little demo, I'm going to pick 8. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write 1 through 8 in a column on a piece of paper. And then I'm going to just keep on writing. I'm going to make about 5 cycles of 8. I'm going to cut this paper up. You'll see what I'm going to do so I can look at it all at once. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, that's the third cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now I've got this all on a big piece of paper here. If you have it on different sheets of paper, I'll show you a really cool way that you can actually work this out once we get ready to perform it. But now I need some instruments. So I happen to be in my kitchen, and so I am going to raid the kitchen and find maybe 4 or 5 things that sound kind of good when you strike them with some thing. This is like an episode of Good Eats, more and more at every turn, because I have come in here and I've been walking around my kitchen pulling things out and whacking them to see which ones have the most interesting sounds. I'm looking for sounds that are maybe resonant sounds, or it could be sounds that are buzzy sounds or jingly sounds. I'm not really sure until I try. Now, you don't have to do it in your kitchen. You could go to your garage. If you have cool metal things in your garage, like brake drums and sheet metal or wrenches or screwdrivers or hammers. I don't really have a lot of those things in my garage. I got a lot of paint and paint cans, which could be cool, but I'm already here, so I'm going to use this. Or maybe you have a child that has lots of toys that bang and make noise. Pull those out. Maybe your furniture is particularly resonant. I don't know. So I went around my kitchen, and the first thing I found was cookie sheet. This is my biggest cookie sheet, and that's pretty resonant. I like that. It's got kind of a little bit of boom to the sound. Now, if I could try hitting it with something harder, like a spoon. That's not a bad sound. It's sort of more splatty, but I think for this project, I'm going to use that knuckle sound. I kind of like that, hitting it with my knuckles. Okay, so there's one instrument. Let's see. Then I wandered all around, and I thought maybe egg beater. Yeah, it's an interesting sound. I don't really hear it for the gamelan thing, but maybe. I had really high hopes of my egg separator because it looks like it might go boing, but it just sort of makes kind of a high sound. It's not really great. Oh, now here's one. You probably don't know what this is. This is called a cake separator. In the 50s, when they made chiffon cakes like angel food cakes, you wouldn't want to cut those with a knife because you'd smush the cake. So instead, you stick this into the cake and then sort of wiggle it back and forth and do it enough and you end up with a slice of cake. I just have it because it's pretty cool. But I found out that if I take this kitchen skewer like you would use for turkey or chicken, almost sounds like a frog or a cricket. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to use that. That's number 2. I'm looking for maybe 4 or 5 instruments. If I can do 2 instruments in the same take, then I could have more instruments be a little easier. Let's see. I went and found the biggest pot that I have, and that sounds pretty good. I happen to have a wooden spoon here that I could try hitting it with the spoon end. It's great. It's okay. It's not bad. It makes slightly different sounds depending on what part of the spoon I use. This particular spoon happens to be very coolly made with a drumstick on the other end. They're called mixed sticks, so I guess you can drum on your pots and pans. I'm going to move this over the edge so that some of the sound can get out of the pot. That's pretty good. And I noticed this weird thing. So if I hit the pot right in the middle, it's kind of a dead sound. If I hit it on the edge, it's okay. But I can hear in this room, and you might not be able to hear it very well on the recording, but when I go about an inch in from the edge, there's sort of a sweet spot where it's the most resonant. And this is what percussionists spend a lot of their time doing, hitting things and finding out where the sweet spot is. Okay, so there's that. I have measuring spoons. I could shake them. They kind of make a jingly sound. Kind of a random sound, though. I'm not sure if that's going to be very helpful. Measuring cup. I kind of like that. It makes a different sound than if I hit it. That's harder. This has a sort of covered sound, and it's partly interacting with the countertop, so I think I'm going to do that. I just finished up a can of beets. And you know what? Watch this. Here's the lid. Don't cut yourself if you're doing this. That's a very subtle sound, but it's got like this little sort of twang to it. I hope the lid doesn't break off before I get done with this recording. And I tried hitting it with whisk because there's more surfaces, so I thought maybe it might make a little bit of difference. And finally, I have a bowl. Ceramic bowl, and it's kind of nice. It's a very high sound. So I think, and then maybe, so I have, and that. So I think some of these things I can do together. Like I can do bowl, maybe I'll always do bowl and pot together, so I can do them in the same take. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might do 5 takes. You don't have to do 5, you could do 4. The point is to make a layering of sound. So I need an abbreviation for each of these things. So I'm going to make this be, I'm going to call it letter B for bowl, pot, and C for can, and M for measuring cup, P for, because I haven't used P yet, and I think I'm going to call this Z because that makes a zingy kind of sound, I guess. So I've got all those letters, and I'm going to go back to my chart and plan out the next step. Okay, here I am back with my numbers, and now I'm going to start putting my instruments onto my chart. So I'm going to start with this cookie sheet, which I'm calling, I'll call it S for cookie sheet. I don't remember what I said I was going to call it, but I'm going to call it that. And I'm going to start it off at the beginning. So I'm going to write on my chart an S at 1. Okay, then I have to decide how often is this S going to be heard. Maybe this could be the timekeeper instrument, and so I'm only going to hear it at the ones, like every 8 counts, after every 8 counts. Sure, so I'll do that. I'll put in S every time I have a 1. Okay. Now let's pick the next instrument. How about the pot and bowl? I was going to hit them together. Okay. So I'm going to just sort of use one letter for when I start it, and I'll just always know that I hit with both hands. So we're going to use, what did I say, P for that pot. And I think it's going to happen, I'm going to start it on a 3. So when I get, it's going to be like 3, 4. I'll put a little line there. Pot, bowl. And then how often do I want it to sound? I think every 4 counts. So I'm going to go pot, bowl, 2, 3, 4. Pot, bowl, 2, 3, 4. Wait, let's think about that. Pot, bowl, 3, 4. Pot, bowl, 3, 4. Sure, I'll do it that way. Pot, bowl, 3, 4. Pot, bowl. Now I'm going into the next one. 3, 4. Pot, bowl, 3, 4. Pot, bowl, 3, 4. And I'm going to put it all the way in, all the way down. And notice, because I'm using a multiple of 4, that fits into my 8 count really evenly. And so I end up writing it on the same numbers over and over. Now that's not always going to be true depending on what we choose. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Where am I here? Pot, bowl. And pot, bowl. Pot, bowl. That's good. That'll be the last thing we hear. I'll just put a 1 there just in case. To finish it up. Okay. Let's see. Tin can. We'll call that T. And I'm going to do that one every 5 counts. I'm going to start it at the top with the S. T. 2, 3, 4, 5. T. 2, 3, 4, 5. T. 2, 3, 4, 5. T. Gosh, look, it's falling on these weird numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5. T. 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 Now that took 5 cycles of 8 to cycle out. 8 times 5. So it took that many counts for it to sort of come out even. If you are a numbers person, you're like, yeah, I see why that cycles line up like that. If you are not, you're maybe a little bit freaked out. Just that's why we're doing this chart thing, okay? Let's see, that was the tin can, and we now need the measuring cup. Let's do the measuring cup. I'll do it, how about on count 5, and then I'll count 6 of those. So 5 goes measuring cup, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh gosh. Measuring cup, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 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 Oh, squish it in. Measuring cup, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, measuring cup. Now I happened to pick, I didn't actually plan that out, but I happened to pick a starting place. Oh, I guess by starting on 5. That got me back to my end cycle there. So that's fine. They don't all have to happen at the same time. You can see this is already starting to look a little bit complex. Like, it's a good thing we're not trying to do this one person playing all these things at once, although percussionists do that. If you wanted to do this project by getting 4 friends together that you are socially distancing with, and record it all in one take where everybody plays a different instrument, this would be your musical score. But I'm going to show you how to do it in layers anyway. Let's see, we got tin can, pot, bowl. Oh, zing. Let's see, the zing should happen maybe, how about less often? Why don't I do it on 7, every 7. 7 and 7. So I'll put a Z, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Z, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I lost count. I'll do it again. Z, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Z, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Z, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh gosh, there's a lot happening on that beat. Z, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it doesn't get to play at the end because 7 doesn't fit into multiples of 8 very well unless we add more cycles. Okay, so I've got my musical score. I'm going to just, when I do this, I'm going to look at one letter at a time when I count. So I'm going to demonstrate that in just a minute. my chart that I had written out on the piece of paper, and what I've done is I've cut it into strips and run it down the wall. You don't have to run it down the wall if you don't want to, but hey, I've got these cool Post-it notes. So I run it down the wall so that I can just keep reading all the way down and not have to like go back to the top of the line and whatever. I want to be able to do this as easily as possible. And so I'm starting with my S. Now, we're going to assume that you have set up your recording device to record tracks. And you can do that with Audacity, you can do it with Acapella, a whole bunch of different apps that I mentioned in the directions for this. And if you have not figured out how to do that, then take a few moments and just play with those settings. So I'm going to set my beat, and what you would want to do here is you're going to end up needing to have headphones in so you can hear the track that you've already made and hear the counting and keep a steady beat. But I'm going to pretend that I have the headphones in and that I'm recording. I'm just going to show you how this works from a performance standpoint. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the S instrument, and I'm going to keep a steady beat. I'm going to keep it out loud. If you have to count out loud on your recording, that's no problem. Nobody's going to mind. I'm not going to mind. If you're not very good at keeping a steady beat, hey, great. You might actually turn on a timer on your phone that maybe flashes or beeps. And it's also possible that the recording app that you're using has a click track or a click beat or a visual whatever. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to get my steady beat going. I think I suggested 60 beats per minute, which is 1 count per second in the recording, or this is faster. This is about 90 beats per minute, and it just suits where I am right now in my life. So I'm going to keep the counting going, and I'm going to hit record, and it's going to count off for me 4 counts, and then every time I get to an S, I'm going to play. So here I go. 1, 2, ready, go. S, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. S, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. S, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now at this point, I'm keeping the beat steady to myself. I'm going to pick up the next instrument, but you've hit stop on your recording, and you're going to start again with a second track. So this is the Z, and so here's my beat again, and I have to count out all the counts that I'm not going to play on. So here I go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Was 7? Wait, I missed that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that one is done. I got 1, 2, 2, ready, go. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, Okay, so the next step then, if you've recorded this on Audacity or Acapella or whatever, now you layer those tracks together so that the beginning count, the very first thing, happens all together. If some of your cycles get a little out of whack and they don't line up perfectly, that's okay. We're making a soundscape here and a cyclic piece, and that's one of the ways to do it. Like I say, if you wanted to get a bunch of friends together and just perform this with a different person on each part all the way through, that would be great too.